So we have this story from The Hollywood Reporter. They say the Milo Yiannopoulos makeover, the alt-right's fallen poster boy is back for Trump 2.0. Now in this story,
It's my Tim Pool era.
it's a profile of you.
They picked a heck of a picture of you, Mike.
But they say,
sorry.
like they say this.
I'm
just
going to
before-
rebrand myself as Milo IRL.
Let me read this for you. This is
Sorry,
praise
I'll
of Milo.
stop.
Just before midnight on November 5th, Milo Yiannopoulos' phone rang. On the horn from West Palm Beach, says a source familiar with the matter, was a member of Donald Trump's family. The caller would soon take the stage at Mar-a-Lago, beaming on stage alongside the president. Blah, blah, blah. God Bless the USA blasted across the room full of supporters. But first, they wanted to personally thank Milo for helping the campaign smear once useful idiots. Allies no longer wanted in Trump's orbit, he says. The call, if indeed it happened as described, which when Yiannopoulos is concerned is never a given, capped a return
I mean, they're not wrong. They're
from
not
the
wrong.
ash heap for the once ubiquitous flamboyant far-right rabble-rouser who shot to notoriety during the first Trump campaign but fell to earth after a series of bruising scandals. They then go on to say at the end that...
You can go to the end. Yeah.
And they mention that this was... they say what... Did they say what... where do they mention this?
Right at the very end, if you keep going, it's a very long profile. It's a very long, lavish.
Is it the
loving
small...
profile. If you just keep going.
I see here. It says, Yiannopoulos published what he purported to be Loomer's history of mental health issues, and poof went her access to the president-elect's inner circle. As slippery as Yiannopoulos can be, he can deliver. This is Tarantula's sales pitch after all. And if the business takes off, expect to see such tactics multiplied by the number of clients on his roster, official or not. So what is the claim they're making that you did?
Slippery is only because I'm so well moisturized. No, I've post Kanye. I have started a talent management agency to look after other difficult mercurial stars. It's called Tarantula. Visited I've never really done this ever on a show before, but I'm going to be shameless this evening. By the way, trnt.la. You can go to Tarantula and you can see our extraordinary past client list, which I'm sure that Tim is going to be kind enough to throw up on screen. trnt.la. And so we do a lot of talent management, but we also do what I would describe as retribution as a service.
So it's like Norm Macdonald in Dirty Work?
So every appalling...
That movie was awesome.
Every appalling, underhanded, disgraceful, disgusting, and oh my gosh, how can a human being do this to another human being? That's me.
The United Nations was a client?
Of my partner. So I've there's three general partners of the firm. Bianca Jagger was one of mine, believe it or not. Anyway, so we have our previous client list scrolling gracefully across the screen. And
XXX is dead. What happened there?
Well, I was an advisor of his immediately before he died.
Really?
George and Laura Bush.
Wow.
That's my political partner. Yeah.
William Jefferson Clinton.
My political partner again.
Wow.
So we have 5 presidents among the 3 of us that we have worked for, including the current one. Well, the one to be, I mean, and Azalea Banks and Kanye West and XXXTentacion when he was alive, and I was in Florida helping. That was sort of 2016ish kind of period when he was becoming a bit of one of the. So I was working for him a little bit. I worked for Bianca Jagger, believe it or not. A bunch of other interesting people. Azalea Banks lasted about 3 weeks as a client, but
I'm shocked.
Yeah, stunner. So retribution as a service side of things is when a useful idiot has outlived their usefulness, for instance, Nick Fuentes or Laura Loomer, I will occasionally be called and offered vast sums of money to get rid of them.
By who?
That must remain a matter for me and the family. But so one of those things is if you missed the beginning of this show, you'll have missed me brandishing the complete wit and wisdom of Nicholas J. Fuentes, lovingly compiled by mentor and role model Milo Yiannopoulos. And this is my new book. It's out.
Your book has some endorsements. You were saying.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yes, so it's got some blurbs. I'm going to read you the blurbs. First of all, I'll read you the back cover. So the back cover says, lovingly compiled over a decade by his role model, mentor, and inspiration, Milo Yiannopoulos, this book is an exhaustive intellectual history of the America First movement, its wisdom and wit eloquently expressed in the words of its leader, Nick Fuentes. Complete and unabridged, this volume contains every brilliant thought Nick has ever expressed, together with all of his best jokes. It's a perfect gift for the groyper in your life. The complete wit and wisdom of Nicholas J. Fuentes will be treasured by the whole family for years to come.
You actually got these quotes from high-profile people?
Well, that's my blurb about my book.
No, I know.
But I'm gonna read you now. I've got to do it on the phone. I'm terribly sorry for the. So here are the blurbs for the book. Let's look. Tucker Carlson. If you thought Dangerous was a page turner, you won't believe how fast you'll get through this. Marjorie Taylor Greene, a perfect portrait of the mind of Nicholas Fuentes. Raw egg nationalist, the great raw egg nationalist, says, left me feeling empty. And Laura Trump says, I have no words. So if you are interested, it'll be out in a couple of days on Amazon and everywhere else. I'm sorry it wasn't available today, but it'll be out soon. Lovely color features a
Are you going to show us what's inside?
features a swanky notebook. Well, I'd like to keep the contents, I think, for buyers, except to tell you one story, which is I set the record straight about that infamous dinner. That infamous dinner at Mar-a-Lago. So I do set the record straight about that infamous dinner at Mar-a-Lago. So you'll remember because there was an ill-fated, although very highly viewed, I note, a Timcast episode in which my old boss, Kanye West, unfortunately decided the interview was over quite early into the episode after Tim had been very generous and kind to us in all kinds of ways. And I was like, oh, no. Please don't. But of course, when you're working for somebody, you gotta follow the boss out the door. So for which I apologize. So the dinner at Mar-a-Lago, if you recall that, where I sort of took credit for making the president's life difficult. I do set the record straight, and I would like to again now, which is that immediately after being cancelled, immediately after losing Adidas and his bank accounts and all the rest of it, Ye hired me to rebuild his company. So I ran Yeezy for first as political director and then as chief of staff for 2 years. It's a multi-billion-dollar multinational fashion and music brand. I was like, really, you want me in charge? But I turned out to be good at it. Actually, murdered it. He really didn't have any staff to speak of at all. I booked his ticket. He flew commercial, and his tickets were on my credit card because he didn't have a working credit card to go meet Donald Trump for dinner. A dinner that was long planned, and I couldn't make it, and he took Nick Fuentes, unfortunately. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? So I called a political operative in Florida who is very well connected, worked for 5 presidents, so on and so forth, called Karen Giorno, to try to grease the wheels a little bit, to sort of smooth it all over. And so she picked them up at the airport. They went to the airport and the rest of it. And after that dinner had happened, and the Nick Fuentes thing had kind of blown up, Ye got a bit spooked about blowing his relationship up forever with Trump. So I kind of took the fall for it. I fell on my sword and I said, it was me. I was trying to get back at Trump for not recognizing me after the election. It was a very plausible lie because I did kind of feel like that, and I took the rap for it. But the real story is that Ye asked me what's going to really leave a dent? What's going to leave a mark? And I'm like, I don't know, take Fuentes. That'll do it. So anyway, this poor woman, Karen Giorno, who I know is, she's basically the person you call in Florida if you want to get somebody who's not in the usual Mar-a-Lago circle into the circle and sort of smoothly move through that environment, right? So I called her and I said, could you pick up Kanye West at the airport and drive him to dinner? And I didn't tell her that Nick Fuentes was in the car. And so anyway, there's a lot more to that, and I'll leave it for... Can
I follow up with you something on there? Because it's sort of like in this quote, but first they wanted to personally thank Milo for helping with the campaign smear once useful idiots and no longer Trump allies. Isn't it odd because it sounds like you brought Nick Fuentes to the dinner and you're taking care of a problem that you helped make for Trump?
That's probably true. Although what
it's like, thanks for taking out the garbage that you threw in my campaign.
Well, it was nice enough for them to call to say thank you. But what they're really talking about, you must really hate me. What they're really talking about was Laura Loomer.
Can you talk a little bit
Loomer? Laura Loomer.
Why was she brought in?
Of course,
to begin with,
completely insane. And Laura was brought on into the campaign by Jason Miller, who is that sort of frog-faced, useless bag of never mind. But Jason Miller has done nothing but make it more difficult for Trump to win since he was brought into the inner circle. But he's either got something on Trump or he brings money in. I don't know which one it is. Nobody does. But Jason Miller and Boris Epshteyn, who's the head of Trump's legal thing, these are the two guys who were kind of like, oh yeah, Laura Loomer, maybe Laura Loomer. And so she gets on the plane, and then Laura Loomer claims to a bunch of people in Palm Beach, all of her friends around in Miami, that she had performed
Family friendly.
Huh?
Monica
friendly.
Lewinsky.
I was going to say a sex act.
There you go.
She alleged this. She alleged to people she was spreading those.
I love you and I try to take care of you. And do you know how difficult it is for me to talk like this on your show? Do you know? Do you know how hard this is?
A members only show.
Yeah, I'll say
will go off.
or whatever it is. I can't. It's been so long since I had sex. I did it the wrong way. I did it like that. It's just completely wrong. No, she claimed that she had performed a sex act on the president to a lot of her friends, and this I was like, okay, all right, okay. So I got a call from somebody. And they said, we need to get rid of her. The president wants to get rid of her, but he doesn't want to be the one to do it because she's crazy. So we don't want her turning on the president because so many people, so many followers and everything. So my job was to bring things about Laura to light that made her ineligible to be on the plane and around the president's circle. So, for instance, she's not Jewish. She made it up. A friend of mine was there when she did it. She ordered a Star of David necklace off the internet so that she could be ruder about Jews on stage at a rally in 2018.
Laura Loomer isn't Jewish?
She's not Jewish. She's the only person in history.
Wait, so what's
She's the only person in history. I submitted her for the Guinness Book of Records because she's the only person in history who's ever had a nose job to look more Jewish. It's the most amazing thing you've ever heard in your life. But I also
I've never heard that about her before.
Well, she's not actually Jewish. When
she even ran for Congress, and that never came up.
Right. Well, that's because I was communications director. No, when
maybe did not a great job.
I'm sorry.
It sounds like things went sour with Laura, and you guys have a lot of bad blood, and you sank her as a result of that. Am I reading this right?
People do pay me a lot of money to clean up my own messes. I'm just realizing this now.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.